Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
For those of you who may not know me, my name is Ellen Greenwood. I realize just as I say that I don't have my name tag on today, but my name is Ellen Greenwood. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And as the worship associate this morning, it is my privilege to welcome you to our indoor, in-person service here at Westside Unitarian Universalist Church, as well as our live-streamed service. As always, whether you are here in person or watching us via YouTube, remember that each one of us is welcome here, and all of who we are, all of who each one of us is sacred here. Today is a very special service, and it will be a little different as we celebrate our very own Pride Fest. Knox Pride will be happening this year, but it will be sometime in October, and June is Pride Month, and we had a great Pride Fest when we were meeting outdoors last June, so we decided we wanted to do it again this year. So that means our format is going to be a little different today, and I hope I get all this straight. If I don't, somebody help me out. But today we're going to have a very short worship service, and then we'll have a number of activities that cannot very easily be live streamed. And so for that reason, unfortunately, we're going to have to say goodbye to our online folks at that time. But following the service, we will then conclude our service by walking out to our memorial garden to place our stones of remembrance that we have been keeping up here on the chancel, and sadly they outgrow their vase, so we've made a more permanent place for them. We're going to go place them, and then our Pride festivities will really begin. We will have a short parade here in our neighborhood. We hope that as many of you as possible will join us. We will try to keep it short because it is quite things will be going on here too. If you don't feel comfortable walking outside, then stay. We're going to have activities here and some light refreshments. I saw some beautiful Pride cookies come in the door, thanks to Suzanne. And I do believe there is a fruit rainbow. And then we've got, I know we've got Pride trivia. Do we have trivia and bingo?
Combined bingo trivia.
Awesome. Okay, that should be fun. And then we're having Bridget's yoga today, and it will be Pride yoga. And we will learn, if we didn't know it already, that in one sense of the word at least, pride is for all of us because we can all celebrate who we are. And in light of that, I would like to point out something I didn't even know about this morning until I got here, and actually learned this from one of my grandchildren. But the flag that we have right here being supported by our chalice is a Pride Ally flag. So there's a place in this celebration for all of us, even those of us who identify as straight folks. We are allies and we have our own flag. So we're trying to be as totally inclusive as we possibly can be. Anything else we need to say about the yoga, Bridget? Are we good with that?
Welcome, and it's share yoga, so it won't be heavy. It'll be light after doing all the activities. And
Okay.
so everyone's welcome, and it'll be fun, and we'll do like rainbow. We got little rainbow things, and then we'll do
Okay. Oh, it sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, all right. This is your day to be corny and cheesy and enjoy it. Yeah. We do have a few announcements, as always. For those of us who are here in person, they are in our order of service. As I said, we will be having yoga today. Our second Monday lunch is coming up on June 13th at Seasons Bar and Grill, and be sure to contact Judy Burgett or Diane Gray if you're going to attend that lunch. We have our regular ongoing religious exploration offerings, Thinking of Theology on Wednesdays at 6:30, and our Thursday evening conversations on Thursday evening at 6:30. It's a little ways off, but you should be thinking about the Earth Magic gathering that will happen July 31st at 3 o'clock right here at the church. Once a month, Reverend Carol is leading an Earth-centered gathering close to the new moon, and the next one will be July 31st. June 25th, our book club will be meeting, and we're discussing Defund Fear, Safety Without Policing, Prisons, and Punishment. This is also a UUA common read, and we think it should lead to some very good discussions. And then, if you want to think even a little further ahead, August 5th through August 8th, Reverend Carol will also be leading a Spirit Quest group at Elkmont Group Camp in the Great Smoky Mountains, a time for spiritual exploration in the beautiful Great Smoky Mountains, and that should be a very special time as well. Are there any other announcements? Okay, we will begin our worship with music this morning. The choir is going to sing Come, Come, Whoever You Are. We're still not doing congregational singing as a COVID precaution, but I know you know this one, so hum along in your head anyway.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come, 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 whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come yet again, come.
And at this time, I'm going to invite Andy Galt to come and sound our Tibetan singing bowl, inviting us into a time of contemplation and meditation and reverence for all that is ourselves.
Bridget Ross will light our chalice for us this morning. The reading for the chalice lighting is The Pride Flame by Linda Lee Franson. We light this flame to ignite our hearts and minds, the spark of knowledge that enlightens, the shimmering hope that burns, the blazing love that engulfs our actions, the bonfire of our commitment. We light this flame for those who celebrate themselves, who fear, who hope, who persevere, who stand on the side of love for all. We light this flame to celebrate our kaleidoscope of diversity, working, loving, and living on the side of love. For this, we light this flame.
So we're calling our service this morning True Colors, and we're celebrating pride through creativity. And I think Barry has a few words to introduce us to exactly what we mean by that.
For a long time, I've heard it said that LGBTQ people are unusually creative, and I wondered if that was actually true. Well, while I was preparing for today's service, I found out that several studies have examined this subject, and they have all found that queer people are no more or less creative than everyone else. So where did that old common wisdom come from? Maybe it's because the arts community has always been more accepting of misfits of all sorts and has welcomed and even celebrated people who push the bounds of socially acceptable lifestyles and behaviors. LGBTQ folks would seem naturally drawn to this community where they could feel safe to freely express themselves, all of themselves. Until recently, this freedom has not been possible in most other social communities. We're just now finding out, for example, about all the star athletes of the past who were gay, but had to hide that essential part of themselves just to survive in the gay sports culture, in the sports culture. It may also be true that LGBTQ artists, like those from other oppressed groups, are able to express deep and beautiful feelings and ideals that aren't available to the dominant culture. It's unthinkable that a suburban white housewife could have written Maya Angelou's "I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings." And it may be that a straight cisgendered man could never have come up with anything like the lyrics to Stephen Sondheim's "Send in the Clowns." Today, we want to celebrate the creativity of Westside's own LGBTQ plus community with poems by Nico Galt, Lorie, Allion, and Helen Casara, who some of you may remember as Helen Rose. Now we will take up an offering to support Westside and its work in the community. And our first
person to share with us this morning will be Lorie Allion.
Good morning. I'm Lorie. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I'm bisexual. I'm going to read a poem that I wrote quite a few years ago, but I want to give you a little background first. I was raised UU in a liberal home. I knew a few gay men, no lesbians or bisexual or transgender people that I was aware of. I was not taught homophobia in any way other than through the norms society presented. I identified as straight, I dated guys, even after I got involved in the welcoming congregation work at my church and was even the token straight co-chair of our LGBT committee, which at that time, those were all the initials we had. I was never aware of any attraction to women. And then I met this woman. I was 29. I wanted to be around her all the time. I couldn't stop thinking about her. And one day I thought, if she was a guy, I would think I was attracted to her. I was attracted to her. And within a few minutes, I had realized that, that's the way I felt about Barb in college. That's the way I felt about Anita a few years ago. That's the way I felt about Anne when I was 13 in summer camp. It took me a while to understand why I was so late to that realization. But I finally figured out that even though I was never taught to reject feelings of attraction to women, I was also never taught what they would look like, how that might feel. When I watched a movie or read a book, I identified with the women. They were falling in love with the men. That was what I did. That just seemed like, I identified that way. So I wrote this poem to express my understanding of that and my response to a society that did not offer me a full picture of the full spectrum of who I could be, and that presented, even within my liberal world, presented me with norms and expectations that limited me. It's called Look at Me. Look at me. What do you see? A cute blonde thing flying high on a swing? Look at me. Who will I be? Anne of Green Gables, Nancy Drew, anyone you want me to. Look at me climbing a tree. I don't need to plan. We all know who I am. Look at me. It's easy to agree. Your thoughts have been sown. I've no need for my own. Look at me, trying to be free. I see in your face what you see as my place. Look at me. All that you see is your imagination of a projected expectation. Look at us, holding hands on the bus. Suddenly I'm not doing just what you taught. Look at me. This is my plea. I'm not what you thought, but I found what I sought. Look at me. This is the key. I am who I am. I want no more of your sham.
Thank you, Lorie. That was wonderful. It's very special that you share that with us today. And next, we have Nico Galt.
I have a poem, it's not really about pride, it's just some random words I threw into a whole thing. It's called Every Day is New. Every day is new. Leave your worries behind. Replace them with joyous memories. Smile at your neighbor. Fill their heart with love. You never know what they're going through. Cherish your life. You will make history. Dreams come true. Draw, sing, leap with glee. Love yourself, your body, your mind. You are beautiful, gorgeous, amazing. You are enough.
Thank you, Nico. Those are words we all need to remember and say to ourselves every day. This next poem is pretty special to me, too, because it is written for Nico by Helen Casara, and it ties in multiple ways with celebrating Pride. First of all, because it's a beautiful poem for a beautiful person who happens to be one of my grandchildren. But also, the way it came about, Helen advertised a couple of years ago, I guess, that she would write a poem for one of her friends or any of her friends who would make a donation to Juniper Meadows Transition Fund. Juniper is a UU minister. She spoke here a few months ago, or excuse me. I did it right. Thank you.
Juniper is she, but Helen is they.
Yes, okay. I'm working on it, but I don't always get there, yes. So, we just have to keep trying. So, Juniper at that time was at the Oak Ridge Church, UU Church, and was going through the transition process. So I made a contribution and asked Helen to write a poem for Nico, whom at that time we were still calling Layla, for their birthday. And this is the poem that they wrote, which has since been retitled Nico. And Suzanne is going to read it for us this morning because Helen can't be here.
Nico. Sunshine, you set the world on fire. You are a rainbow of hope, a kaleidoscope of dreams. Awe in one small and brilliant being. My, how we are blessed by your being. You make the universe sing. Starlight, the moon beams with joy for your dancing, your beautiful life, the magic of you, for your fierce and stunning bravery, for the poetry of your smile. Sweet love, set the world on fire with your radical joy, your beautiful blooming. The thunder in your heart that can never be tamed, nor should it be. Let the lightning of your love, the storm of your conviction, the softness of your rain, bring the springtime the earth is yearning for. My, how we are blessed by your being, by your thunder, by the song only you can sing. You are the song that the universe sings. Don't you dare forget it.
So I want to tell a story about Helen and Nico and Helen's child, Henry, because this is one of my absolute favorite Pride stories in our congregation. I don't even know if you remember this, Nico. So a few years ago, when Helen was still attending here, Helen's child, Henry, who is currently using he pronouns, but those change pretty often. Henry gets to choose pretty much on any given day what pronouns he wants. So one day out on the playground, Henry was out on the playground, and Nico was out there too. And some visitor came up, and Henry at the time was on the playground. I think Henry's hair was pretty short, but Henry was wearing a dress. And someone came up and said to Helen, well, is Henry a boy or a girl? And Nico piped up and said, Henry is a person. Which is one, do you remember that, Nico? Helen remembers it, and I remember it. is one of my favorite pride stories from Westside, because it was maybe 4 years ago, right, 5 years ago. So you weren't that much of a grown-up at the time. You were just another kid, and you had gotten the message. So one of the things we do at Westside and Unitarian Universalism is try to promote the idea that everyone matters, and that we all should be proud of who we are, and that we all belong, and that our principles are important and we want to live them. So I believe the last thing we're going to do before we go outside is the choir is going to sing our 7 principles song. Now, this is the way we teach children our values, okay? So they're called the Rainbow Principles because our 7 principles are set to music with the colors of the rainbow. Red, orange, it's Roy G. Biv. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Okay? So I'm going to try to remember these. I can't remember how they go by the colors. There is a phrase for each color. I bet, anybody else remember them? But the words to the song are easier to remember. So they describe the 7 principles, which are also represented by the rainbow, and we are going to sing them for you. They're way too hard to remember in their original words. The song is much easier.
One, each person is important, to be kind in all you do. 3, we yearn to learn and grow, 4, and search for what is true. 5, all persons have a vote. 6, work for a peaceful world. 7, the web of earth's our home, and that brings us back to me and you. Try to do it in your head. 1, each person is important, to be kind in all you do. 3, we learn to learn and grow. 4, and search for what is true. 5, all persons have a vote. 6, work for a peaceful world. 7, the web of earth's our home, and that brings us back to me and you, you.
So we have these names that we've been reading. These are the names of trans people who have been killed for their identities. And throughout the last year, we have been, about quarterly, we have been recording the names of those people as the list grows, writing their names on stones. There comes a point when the vase is too small, which is really tragic. So what we're going to do next, before we actually have our Pride celebration, is we're going to have a Pride memorial. We have placed a special vase in our memorial garden outside, and we are going to go outside. We're going to place these in the vase where they will remain as part of our memorial garden, and each year during our Pride ceremony, we will include this ritual to remember those who have died for their identities, even those unnamed whose names aren't on this list. It's too many people. So let's, for those of you who are with us on our live stream, we invite you at this time to simply take a moment. You're on your computer, Google it. Look up the names of the people who have died in the last 12 months for their identities. We all are going to make just some kind of small commitment today to make a difference in the world. So let us go outdoors. Those of you who are unable to come out to the Memorial Garden, feel free to stay in here. We'll be coming back in a few minutes, and we'll be having our Pride Parade and having our celebration.